So 2018, it sort of feels like a normal gaming year. It's like in a typical normal gaming year. This time of year is always quiet when it comes to new game releases and news in general. And 2018 is no different. It's just a shame coming off 2017 where it felt like what I said before. We had new things to cover. We had new things to talk about. We had like big things like getting talked about and getting like revealed. It felt like every single week of the year. It probably wasn't that. It probably was like every 2 weeks. But 2018, it's definitely got off to a slow start. I guess, you know, you got Bayonetta 2 come out for the Switch. You got Payday 2 come out for the system. As well as the announcement of Nintendo Labo, which I think will help to push the system forward a lot. And plus you got Kirby Star Allies, which is due to come out in March. So yeah, it is a little bit of a slow period. Of course, you had a direct in January. I think we will get a direct in March or April. I think we will definitely get a direct before E3. But yeah, in terms of games that are coming out like now, there's not a lot that I'm really interested in, to be completely honest. There's not a lot that I'm interested in before E3. I would say that I am interested in Tennis World Tour. Definitely will be picking that game up for the Switch if that does have motion controls. You got that Mario Tennis game. I think it's called Mario Tennis Aces. I'm hoping that the story mode is good. I'm hoping that the online multiplayer is good. That is what I'm waiting on in terms of picking up those games. But in terms of the other games coming out, it's like you got the Hyrule Warriors collection, where it combines the Wii U and 3DS versions into one package. I will pick that game up at some point, but I'm not willing to pay the full price for that game just because I did buy the Wii U version and I did buy the season pass for that game. So I'm not willing to pay the same sort of price again for that game. I will wait for that game to drop in price. So it is a little bit of a quiet time for me personally in the 6 months leading up to E3, but you know, I've got so many other games to play, like what I mentioned at the start, so I won't really be bothered about this time of year. To be honest with you, I'm actually thankful that it is a little bit quieter so that I can actually catch up on some of the games that I did miss out on in 2017. I think from E3 onwards, that is when things will ramp up. We will get new announcements, we will get a better look at Pokemon. I think we'll get a first look at Pokemon, our first look at Metroid. We will know when those games come out. I think either Smash or Animal Crossing will get announced then as well. And I think September we probably will get a big third party game get announced, kind of like how Doom was announced in September last year, as well as Wolfenstein 2. You might even have Wolfenstein 2 coming out before E3, by the way. So yeah, that will definitely help to fill out the schedule for me. I probably might pick that game up for the system. But I think the Switch in 2018 will carry on what 2017 did and basically have a game a month from Nintendo. So I think Nintendo will carry on that momentum. I just think the first half of the year will be slower in terms of big new releases. I think this first half of the year will be probably filled with ports mostly, but maybe you got, you know, new games in there like Mario Tennis, you got Kirby in there as well. Maybe they are the only 2 new games coming out from Nintendo in the first half of the year, and maybe in the second half of the year, that is when you do see things ramp up in terms of big new games coming out on a regular basis, kind of like what we saw in 2017. But I think 2018 will still have a game a month. It's just that I think maybe you will see like a month dedicated to like a Wii U port, which is something which I wouldn't want to see. So obviously things could change for the first half of this year. We could get third party developers announce and release games for the first half of this year, kind of like what the Outlast developers did. Outlast 1 came out in February, Outlast 2 is coming out in March. Maybe we could see more of that sort of stuff happening from third party developers for the first half of this year, and maybe we could get a direct announcing more third party games for the first half of this year, and announcing new games for the first half of this year as well. But I just think the first half of this year will be a little bit slower compared to the second half of this year. That is when I do see things ramp up in terms of new games. It's like we still got Yoshi, Fire Emblem from Nintendo, and the possibility of maybe Metroid and Pokemon, and maybe we could get a couple more surprises here and there. And I think we will be getting maybe 2 or 3 major third party games as well. So that is when I do see things ramp up. So 2018 will also see the release of the Switch Online service in September. To be honest with you, I'm not really expecting that much from that service, just because this is Nintendo we're talking about, and typically with online they are always behind the times. So with the online service, I am expecting the worst and hoping for the best, but I am hoping that it will go past my expectations, just because I think the Switch definitely does need a party chat system. It definitely does need a messaging system, and I would love to see trophies and achievements as well. I would love to see Nintendo go all out of this service, just because we are paying for it. So yeah, that's just my only sort of negative for the Switch at this moment in time, is the online service. I am, skeptical about it, just because obviously you had the app released last year. I'm hoping the app will not be the only option for voice chat. I'm hoping that the app will be just an option and you can voice chat through Bluetooth through the Switch itself. So yeah, you got the Switch Online service releasing this year in 2018, and I think in 2018 I think Nintendo will release Joy-Con variations. So I think they will release like a GameCube Joy-Con set. I think they will release Wii Joy-Con sets, like Wii Remote and Nunchuk Joy-Con sets, and Wii U Pro Controller Joy-Cons, where you got the dual analogs at the top. So you got Joy-Cons that are laid out kind of like what the Wii U Pro Controller was, Wii Remote was, and the GameCube controller was. Maybe they could do SNES and NES controllers as well, or NES, SNES, for people that do pronounce it that way. I don't know why I pronounce it the first way, I do pronounce it the second way. So yeah, I can see Nintendo doing that in 2018. In terms of the sales for the Switch in 2018, I think the Switch will sell really well this year, especially if Pokemon does come out for the system. I think Nintendo Labo will help to drive the system. Nintendo have also talked about the fact that they are also developing new games that will also take advantage of new ways to play. So maybe we will see some of those games come out for the system, and who knows, maybe those games could help to drive the system to new audiences. It's like I think Nintendo Labo will help to drive the system and push the system to new audiences. I think it will help to push the system to families and younger kids. And that is what I think Nintendo want to do with their other pieces of software, like target women. Maybe women will come over with games like Animal Crossing, but maybe Nintendo, that is what they are doing at this moment in time. They are developing, we already know that they are developing games with new ways to play, and maybe these games will target not just core gamers, but casual gamers, women. Maybe we will see games that are targeted at the elder folk, but yeah, I think the Switch will sell well based on 2017 lineup. I think that momentum will carry on through this year, but I think 2018's lineup, especially if Pokemon does come out this year, that will definitely help to drive system sales. Before I do move on and talk about 2019 and the future of the Switch, I just want to quickly go over Wii U ports, just because I did mention it within this section of the video. So on the Switch, you got quite a lot of Wii U ports. You've got Bayonetta 1 and 2, which recently got released for the platform. You got in the first year, you got Rayman Legends, you got Lego City Undercover, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and Pokemon Tournament DX. Probably I'm missing out quite a few there, but coming up soon you're going to be getting Hyrule Warriors, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, and I'm sure I am missing out on even more. So there are quite a lot of Wii U ports on the platform at this moment in time. I am not going to be buying them at full price, if at all. I would have bought something like Pokemon Tournament DX if all of the DLC characters like Blastoise, and I can't remember the other one from the top of my head, but if those two DLC characters were in the base game itself, then I would have gone out and bought Pokemon Tournament DX. But the fact that as a Wii U owner, I've got to go out and pick up the game again at full price, but on top of that, to get the full content, I've got to go out and buy the DLC. I will never buy Pokemon Tournament DX for the Switch, I don't think, unless it gets a massive price drop. So yeah, I think for me to buy Wii U ports, then it needs to have a lot more content than what the Wii U version didn't have. Hyrule Warriors, I guess, does have that, just because it does have the 3DS content that I never played. But I think with Wii U ports, I don't think I will pay full price for them. It's like I probably will buy Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze when it does drop in price. It's like last year I said that I wouldn't pick up Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and I would wait for the next Mario Kart game. But I'm actually thinking about picking up that game just because it does have some exclusive content like Battle Mode, like some new characters, like the Inklings that I would definitely love to play as. That sort of stuff. Like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it is actually one of the better Wii U ports just because you got some Wii U ports in there, like Pokemon Tournament DX, where yes, you got new content, but you got to pay for that sort of content. With Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you don't have to pay for that sort of content, and you are actually getting new content with this Switch port, whereas with Bayonetta 1 and 2, you're not really getting anything new with those Wii U ports. So yeah, Wii U ports in general, I don't think it will pick up unless they do have a lot of new content that wasn't in the Wii U version. I think Wii U ports, they're not really for me. They are for people that didn't pick up a Wii U. I think we will see more Wii U ports in the future. I think we will see games like Super Mario 3D World, Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, you've got Xenoblade Chronicles X, you've got Wonderful 101, Super Mario Maker. Games like that I think will make their way over to the Switch. I think Pikmin 3 will make its way over to the platform as well as Kirby Rainbow Curse. I think that game could make its way, and it could be just playable in handheld mode, and I could definitely see that happening. I think they will port over quite a lot of Wii U games just because it does make business sense, but on a personal level, I will not be double dipping on most of those games unless they do have a lot of new content. So I think I will actually go out and pick up Mario Kart 8 Deluxe to tie me over to the next Mario Kart game whenever that does release. One more thing I just want to quickly mention about Wii U ports is that I'm not really that bothered about them as a whole. I'll just love Nintendo to balance them out for Wii U owners and have new games released around about the same time when Wii U ports come out. So I don't want like a whole month dedicated to like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze or Hyrule Warriors. I would love like a brand new game to come out like at the end of the month. So have like a time period where it gives the port a chance to breathe. But I would love it if there was like a new game in that same month as well. So yeah, that's just pretty much it in terms of my thoughts on Wii U ports. Let's move on and talk about 2019 for the Switch and the future for the Switch beyond that as well. I just don't think it will be great. So to end this video, I'm going to talk about the Switch moving past this year and how I think the Switch will sell like overall in its life cycle, like in its lifetime. So I think the Switch, I think it will be really successful just because I think it will be successful with core gamers. We already can see that at this moment in time it is successful with core gamers. I think it will be successful with casual gamers. I think software and ideas like Nintendo Labo will help to drive the system to new audiences like casual audiences that necessarily don't play games on a regular basis. I think Nintendo will continue to drive the Switch to new audiences like women, younger children, like the older generation as well. I think Nintendo will do that moving forward. I think games like Animal Crossing, Smash, Pokemon, I think they will help to drive the system sales as well. But I think the key point here is because the Switch is like both. It is a hybrid system. It is, you know, a console and a handheld. I think the Switch, it's like before with previous consoles, pretty much families just bought one for the household. But what I think is happening at this moment in time, and what I think will continue to happen moving forward, is that families and people will buy multiple Switches for their household. So maybe a family of 4 will buy like 4 Switches for every single person in the house, which I don't think has happened before. I don't think, you know, it hasn't really happened with like the 3DS, maybe with the DS, maybe that happened then. But I think the Switch, I think multiple Switches will be in the same household, and I think that will be the same case moving forward, especially if Nintendo do release a hardware upgrade, kind of like what they always do with their handhelds. It's like with the 3DS, we've seen the new 3DS. With the Game Boy, we saw the Game Boy Advance. The DS, we saw the DS Lite, the DSi. I think Nintendo will do the same sort of thing for the Switch, and I think that will definitely help to drive the system forward as well. And I think the Switch, at the end of its life cycle, I think it will sell between 75 and 95 million units. That's just where I think the Switch will be at the end of its lifetime. So I guess anything could happen between then, but that's just how I see things moving forward, especially if Nintendo carry on this momentum of releasing every single one of their IPs for the Switch. If they release all of their handheld games for the Switch, you will persuade some of the people that are on the 3DS to go out and pick up a Switch. So that is why I think the Switch will be successful based on the stuff that I talked about. I think Nintendo will push the system into new audiences that don't necessarily know about the Switch at this moment in time. I think games like Pokemon will massively drive up the system install base, and I think the key reason is that people will buy multiple Switches for their household. I think that is going to be a key reason why I think the Switch will sell between 75 to 95 million units. So that has been a long review of the first year. What I might have done is split this video up into 2 parts. I probably might have done that actually. So hopefully you have enjoyed this video. If it is one video, if it is multiple parts, hopefully you have enjoyed the multiple parts. But let me know your thoughts about the Switch. Are you liking the Switch after a year, or maybe you've already traded it in? I know some people have already traded their Switch in. I don't know why, but obviously people have different opinions than what I do. But let me know your opinion of the Switch 1 year on from when you bought it. Or maybe you are a new Switch owner. Maybe you've only just recently got the Switch for Christmas. Let me know how you are getting on with the Switch in the comment section below. That is it for this video. Yeah, hopefully you have enjoyed it. If you have, make sure you are hitting that thumbs up button. And yeah, we'll see you next time.